Why don't minorities and women talk about money? I'm here to tell you and to break that little curse, because if we don't speak about it and they don't talk about it, we're going to continue this vicious cycle that we've been on for a very long time. And so let's hit upon the first one. And by the way, I have notes now, so we're on to something this year. Systemic barriers. Ultimately, these barriers have been around for a very long time. Think back all the way back to when women weren't allowed to vote. Minorities weren't allowed to vote. Women weren't allowed to work in the workforce. Minorities weren't allowed to work in the workforce. And then all of those stereotypical things that comes into the workforce when they do join. They're lesser, right? Black man going into business, he doesn't have enough experience. He's never been around it. They're not smart enough. Women, they should be in the household, making food, taking care of the kids. They don't have the mental strength and the capacity that men can do. Think about all of those and how you have to overcome them if you are a minority and a woman. Now, that being said, it is 2025 now. So things have changed, but they're still out there. And we are now overcoming that within our own households. According to the FDIC, 13.8% of black households are completely unbanked. The hell does that mean? It means they don't go to the bank. Either they can't because of their credit, they don't trust the system, or they don't even have enough funds to actually bank with. 13.8% compared to white households at 2.5%. That's a drastic difference. I didn't break it down in between women and other minorities, but I'm going to tell you that it is probably within those same realms. Now you talk to me and think about you not banking. How hard would it be not to have a debit card? What would you do? Where would you go next? You'd probably go to a credit card. You'd probably go to a payday loan. And ultimately, those both scavenge on the economic lessers, right? We call them poor people, right? We all call them poor people. That's who they approach and that's who they attack. And they are designed to do so. So less education, more barriers, and the easiest way to do things is something that will hurt you way more in the long run than the short run. You tell me how women and minorities are supposed to be open and talking about their money when things are built against them. Now, I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out the realness of it. Now, let's talk about the cultural norms. Our Latinos, our Asians, typically in their cultures, their families take care of their elders, right? Am I wrong? Pretty sure I'm right. Ultimately, they are designed to take care of their elders, whether that is making money and sending money back home, whether it is keeping the elders in their home and them taking care of them. And you tell me if that puts a burden on anybody. We're starting to see it a lot right now where we have an aging population, the boomers, if you will, and older, that are living in homes, whether that is in nursing homes, whether that's at home with their loved ones, but they didn't have the money to support it. Therefore, the younger generations are taking on these behaviors. And that cultural norm is hurting both women and minorities drastically, because women are expected to take care of them. And then most minority cultures, it's just the norm that elders live with you and you take care of your elders and you give back as much as possible. Now, I'm not knocking cultures, okay? Don't bring that shit at me. I'm not doing that. I support it myself. But what I'm saying is those norms that you have to overcome that maybe the white population doesn't as much. Think about that. So what are some things that we can do as we think through this quick episode of Let's Get Real? Well, one, we need to be able to speak about our money in both forms, right? The form of, hey, I have some, I need help, or the form of, I don't have shit and I need help. But ultimately, we need to take this discussion further and deeper into our households, into our loved ones, and into our hearts to get through what's going on, both with our inflation, both politically, non-politically, geopolitically. All of these issues are coming back to you, and it's going to be on your shoulders. And I will tell you this time and time again, you cannot do this alone. I appreciate you. On the next episode, we are going to go through the financial trauma, some of our biases that we have to overcome on the next episode of Let's Get Real.